Welcome to the latest episode of the Motorvait Supplier Showcase. I'm Neil Smith, CEO of Motorvait Automotive Consultancy, and in this series, I'm sitting down with the innovators, movers and shakers behind the UK's most exciting automotive businesses, whether they're game-changing startups, industry disruptors, or established legends. We'll be diving into the latest digital and physical products currently shaking up the UK vehicle retail space. If it's making waves, we'll be covering it. My guest today is Phil Gale, UK Head of Sales of ExchangeMyCar, an online platform that offers consumers a smarter way to sell their car with competitive offers being provided within just 30 seconds. Welcome, Phil, and thanks for being my guest on this, the latest episode of the Supplier Showcase podcast.
No problem, Neil. Thanks for having us.
So, Phil, you and I have spoken on a number of occasions about your product offering. To enable our viewers and I to get to know you a little better, a regular feature of this podcast series is the guest icebreaker. So, please tell us 3 interesting facts about yourself, 2 of which are true and 1 that isn't. We'll then let the viewers ponder this during the podcast, and I'll ask you to reveal which are true and which is false at the end.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So, 1, I've worked part-time as a professional photographer. I've got a full motorbike license, ridden most of the UK racetracks, and I play guitar in a band at the weekend.
Brilliant. Eclectic selection of facts there. Be interesting to see which is the fake one at the end, Phil. So we'll let our viewers dwell on this and get the fake one out at the end. So, okay, let's learn a little bit more about Phil Gale. Tell me about you, your background, and how you ended up where you are today.
Yeah, so my first proper job was with Carphone Warehouse. So I worked there for a number of years whilst at uni and beyond. After that, I did a number of years at the AA in Cheadle on their renewals campaign before moving into the automotive industry with a large car supermarket based in the Midlands. I worked there for about 8 years, ended up being customer support manager, handling the online inquiries there before moving to Devon. COVID hits and you kind of reevaluate what's important. So I decided to up everything from Nottingham down to Devon, where I got a job as a leasing broker, as transaction manager. Redundancy came there. I did a couple of months delivering beer around Devon, which was lovely in summer. You get to visit some beautiful places down here. Before 2 years ago, the opportunity to join ExchangeMyCar came along, and yeah, here we are today.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think I've probably done a little bit more than 2 months delivering beer in the sunny West Country, but so good on you to get back into the corporate world. Brilliant. So look, let's just talk about your role as UK Head of Sales there at ExchangeMyCar and tell us a little bit about the history and current mission of the business.
Sure. Yeah. So ExchangeMyCar, we started back in 2019 with the aim to make car selling seamless. Nowadays, no one transacts without comparing the market. So we wanted to give car owners a quick, easy and reliable way to shop around and sell the car in one place. On the other hand, we wanted to help dealers get the exact stock they wanted. We noticed that auction prices were creeping up and the process was too time consuming. They just needed a way to get in front of private sellers. There were other platforms offering online car selling services, but there was no such thing as a comparison platform that matched sellers with a selection of potential buyers instantly. The company was built organically and completely from scratch, so it was imperative for us to be profitable from the offset. We started off small, offering customers an instant valuation online that we would guarantee whilst in the background. We'd broker those cars to dealers. At the same time, we were working really hard to optimize and automate the whole process from scratch, which is where we are today.
Okay, excellent. So I think from my perspective, clearly the big difference here is that you are offering consumers quotes within that 30-second window. And any other platform out there, the commercial operators now and the bigger ones, they're still in that place where they're taking time to secure bids from dealers, and that can be anything up to 24 hours before consumers get to a point where they can make a decision. So the technology you're using to do that, just talk to me a little bit about that. How are you getting these immediate quotes?
There's a few ways we do it. So we've got some buyers have their own online valuation service, which we can tap into using APIs. We discovered quite quickly there was kind of a hole in the market where there was a lot of buyers who wanted access to a platform like us and turn themselves into a car buying company, but didn't have the opportunity to offer the instant price. So we partnered up with a number of different services to compare valuations and then offer that service to these smaller buyers to get them on the platform as well.
Brilliant. Okay, so from an onboarding perspective for a dealer, there are sort of quick options where they can look to secure evaluations through one of your service providers, or they can maybe for those larger dealers, they can plug in their own APIs to you from their car buying service platform that they may have spun up themselves and present those valuations to the customer via that sort of channel, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly that. And there's two ways a dealer can receive a lead. We've got our own bespoke platform that we built from the ground up. We've got a really good development team here who do everything. So for anyone that doesn't have an online CRM that they're using currently, we can provide it. But anyone that does for the bigger ones, we can API the lead into their system, which then links up with their dialer and everything that way. And all their AI automation in the background can kick in exactly the same as the lead would from their own website.
Okay, excellent. So convenience and simplicity, really, just ensuring that the dealer's got access to that data and those leads within their own existing systems is great as far as I'm concerned. Otherwise, they're having to log into multiple platforms and all sorts of things. So
that's it. And once we provide the lead, we step out of their way. They've got the customer information. We do have a customer service team that does help the customer and guide the customer,
okay.
And we live transfer into our buyers as well.
Okay, so talk to me a bit about that customer service team. So are they doing some sort of triage on some of these leads for your customers, for the dealers?
They are, yeah. So we've got a dialer system which prioritizes certain order. So they make the calls based on that. And then they're triaging the customer, finding out what they're after, if they're happy with the price, if we can answer any questions they've got. And then ultimately what we're trying to do is gauge who that best buyer will be. And then we steer the customer that way and we warm transfer it into the dealer, which I don't think any other service provider is doing. So we'll live transfer it into the buyer, explain what we've discussed, explain who we've got on the phone, the vehicle they've got, and then warm transfer that customer into that buyer. And the feedback we've had from buyers has been really good.
Yeah, so that's clearly taken that customer further down the funnel and taken away one of the biggest blockers, I suppose, to this is when you've got busy buyers or busy buying teams, these leads can sort of get left for a period of time. So what is a very hot lead, someone inquiring on that valuation that's been provided by your site, can quickly cool, can't it, unless someone's there triaging it.
Yeah, that's it. We can warm them up a little bit more as well and then get them through. And then what we also do is follow up with the customer, an hour or so later, just to see how that call went with the buyer.
Okay.
If there was issues with the vehicle and it turned out they couldn't buy it, we then steer the customer into a more suitable buyer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Understood. And in terms of understanding that dealer's profile, how do they give you the stock profile they're interested in?
So that's part of all the onboarding process. So part of that will go down the route of, what vehicles they're buying, what is their prime retail stock, really.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to know. So we want to know make, model, age, mileage, number of previous owners, even down to color. We'll take that as part of the onboarding process and we'll run some tests to ensure it's all working correctly. So only the leads they get will be the prime retail stock they want. And we can even do that down to location as well.
Brilliant. Okay, so that is that radius from a postcode or something like that, or right? Okay,
yeah. And it can be a number of postcodes as well. So if you've got 4 sites dotted around the UK, we can put all 4 postcodes in, put a 50-mile, 100-mile net around each one of them, and then any lead within that radius they'll get as long as it matches their stock profile.
Okay, and for those leads that you're not triaging, you clearly you'll triage where you can and help that dealer out. But for those that are going straight into the dealer and they're reacting to them, how are you seeing that sort of level of interaction from dealers and engagement? Are they pretty on it?
Yeah, they are. Certainly the bigger ones, they know what they're doing. We're not here to teach the dealers how to suck eggs.
Yeah.
We know they know what they're doing. They're successful in what they're doing, which is why effectively we want to pass the lead on and step out of the way and let them do what they do best. The more blockers they have in place, the more reliant they are on third parties. It just makes it more complicated.
Yeah.
So all our customer service team is doing is trying to assist rather than get in the way.
And do you see your service as complementing what a lot of dealers are set up now, which is their own sort of sell your car to me platforms and sell your car to me websites? Yours is a complementary service to that, is it?
Yeah, 100% it is. The main difference is, I think one of your questions later on covers it as well, but if they're paying PPC, they've got no control of what they're getting.
Yeah.
So they're getting a lot of cars they're not interested in. Sometimes as high as 80% of the leads they get, they're not interested in. So either they're going in the bin or, the team have got to deal with them and explain it's not part of our buying criteria, which can be really demotivating for the staff. What we do is once we've got the criteria, we're supplying the lead the same way it would through their website, but we've already pre-filtered it because we know what they're buying. We know their buying criteria. So if we're sending them a lead, in theory, they should be looking at the list of the vehicles we've sent and say, I want to buy every single one of them.
Yeah, definitely. And I see this a lot where you will get service providers providing volume leads into a business, and those leads need to be qualified or disqualified as quickly as possible. And what we don't want to see in a dealership is busy fool syndrome. So they're rushing around and not giving the attention to those really hot leads. So it's about quality over quantity. So that's the vanity versus sanity piece for me. Yeah. So good to see that you guys are doing that work to ensure a dealer only sees leads that are really relevant to them and really spend the time managing those.
Yeah. Okay, it's another way EMC can help. We did a deal with someone who was supplying us the leads they didn't want, and right. we were funneling them to our buyers who did want them. And it turned out, their website did that automatically, filtered them out. They were then getting paid on the leads, so they weren't going in the bin. The team weren't dealing with them, so their motivation went up, their happiness went up in the office. And it actually turned out they bought more cars on the back of it just because they were only dealing with the stock they wanted.
Good. Okay. Yeah. So look, real benefit there, especially with the challenges around supply at the moment within the industry. So at least there's another channel now, which is that private buying piece, outside of those standard sort of corporate options, your traditional trade sources and the new entries to market around that consumer sourcing piece. So interesting to see how the business is developing. So you've been, formed in 2019, and what are your objectives moving forward now?
I suppose our objective is to make it easier for customers to sell their car, easier to get a competitive offer on the car instantly, and speed the whole process up. One thing we found with similar platforms is the time it takes. We've had customers who have had an offer on our website and sold and had the money in the bank the same day.
Right.
If the stars align and the customer wants to move that quickly, then that can happen. Our average is 3 days from inquiry to money in the customer's bank. So that's time for doing the appraisal, getting it booked in for collection, and on the day of collection, paying the customer. So our average is 3 days. And because they're in contact with the customer directly, they know if they've purchased the car. It's not like they've won the car.
Yeah.
They've got funds allocated to it, and then they find 2 days later they're not buying it. So that can be quite frustrating.
Yeah, and I think that's a vital part of the system in terms of you're allowing the dealer to handle that transaction with the customer directly. And it's not a sort of third party that's sat in the middle dictating certain elements of that transaction. And then, whether the quality of that appraisal is good enough or the images, and then rejections on the driveway and those sort of things. I think a lot of that is causing dealers at the moment a considerable degree of concern because they're in that busy fool syndrome again. They're taking time to work that deal through, and then if they're not getting that deal done 30% of the time, it's quite frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% it is, and ultimately it's cost them money to go and look at that car.
Yeah,
just because they've not bought it doesn't mean it's not cost them anything. So if being in control of the appraisal, being in control of speaking to the customer makes it that there's less cancellations, then it's a win-win.
Yeah. And in that instance, once the customer is in communication directly with the dealer, do you offer appraisal tools, or is that something that the dealer needs to be pushing out with on their own?
No, it's all in the hands of the dealer. So it's how works best for them. Some of the bigger ones have see it now kind of AI built into it. So when a lead drops into their system, this AI goes out with a link to upload photos. We do request photos from customers, so they can upload photos via our platform for the dealers to see. However, I'm sure you're aware, the more steps you put in a journey, the more drop off you get.
Yeah.
So we don't make it a necessity to upload photos. We view that as a kind of an after once we've got the lead and got the offer. And the offers are all based on certain assumptions that, the car's retail ready. If you run a hose over it and put it in the showroom, it wouldn't look out of place. Once you've spoken to the customer, we had buyers who do a video call with the customer. a live video call to appraise the vehicle. You're seeing the exact car at that moment in time. We've got customers who just have a frank and honest conversation with a customer and say, look, if you're honest with your description, I'm honest with what we'll pay. It's what works best for that individual dealer. And we find there's not a one size fits all with that.
No, and look, that's fair enough. In it, at that point, the due diligence sits firmly with the dealer. At that point, you're introducing them to a potential seller of a vehicle that meets their retail profile or trade profile, if they consider that that's a vehicle they might want to take and trade out of. So that is their responsibility at that point to ensure that they are taking the necessary steps to protect themselves and protect the customer. So,
correct.
Fully appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what can you tell us about any exciting projects moving forward, or partnerships or innovations that we can expect from Exchange My Car? Anything in the pipeline that you can talk about?
Yeah, there's a lot in the pipeline. Probably not much I can talk about. We've got many partnerships kind of we're working on at the moment. Probably the main one that is close to going live is we're wanting to help the dealers also sell stock. So
Okay.
We're working towards an advertising platform on our sites where they can advertise their stock in the aim of generating part exchange inquiries as well as just sales inquiries.
Right.
So as part of the journey, the customer will get an offer on the car, and then we will present them with, a selection of cars that they're looking for, or we'll select them to a page where they can search these. This is what I'm after. I'm after this make, this model, this age, this price.
Okay.
And then our buyers on our platform can advertise their cars on there.
Okay, so you'd be taking stock feeds from those dealers and generating your own aggregator site there.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Understood. Yeah, interesting. So the more dealers you get on board, the more stock you can surface there, and you can get that dealer into a place where they're controlling the deal from start to finish with the customer, and not just from a part exchange perspective or buying that vehicle from them. Clearly, if they're selling that car, they've got a want for another car anyway. So just opens up that funnel a little more, doesn't it?
Exactly that. Yeah. And if we can turn, an inquiry for somebody wanting to sell a vehicle into somebody wanting to buy a vehicle for our dealers, then that's an even bigger win. They get a great car to put in their showroom as a part exchange, and they also sell a car on the back of it as well. So win-win.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so watch this space on that one then, Phil.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long.
All right, cool. Okay, so look, we're nearing the end of the podcast. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? So in conclusion, Exchange My Car offers convenient and efficient car sourcing for dealers, automating dealers' inventory sourcing process with a smart and efficient web-based system. Phil, really enjoyed the chat today, and thank you for taking the time to take us through the services that Exchange My Car offers. Before I let you go, we need to clear up the icebreaker question for our viewers. So, which of the three interesting facts was in fact false?
Yeah, no, I'll ask you actually, which one do you think first?
Racing every track around the UK on your motorbike.
I don't play a guitar.
Brilliant. So you have raced virtually every track?
Yeah, most of them.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Great fun.
Brilliant. I'm sure it is. Yeah, you should be out there today. I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but it's beautiful today. So
sweltering. Yeah, I think it'd be a bit hot to be doing that.
Yeah, true. Especially if you're in the leathers and the helmet. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah,
so look,
good.
Thanks again, Phil, for your time today. For more information about Exchange My Car, visit the website www or message Phil directly on LinkedIn. Thank you for watching, and a quick reminder that here at Motorvait, we offer 1 hour remote one-to-one dealer discovery sessions for free. To learn more about these sessions and why you should book one, visit our website www.motorvait.co.uk. Bye for now.